Bellator Fighting Championships, along with Everlast and FullTiltPoker.net, tonight here at 4th Street Live. Now, present this feature fight in the middleweight division scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. And now introducing first out of the red corner, he wears the black at 6'4", weighing in at 185 pounds. The jiu-jitsu specialist brings an undefeated professional record of 4-0 with 2 victories by knockout, 2 by way of submission. Representing Four Seasons Gym and fighting out of Lexington, Kentucky, introducing Josh Clark. Baby. Across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the blue trimmed in white at 6 foot. He weighed in at 186 pounds even. The freestyle fighter, as a professional, brings 10 victories, 5 by knockout, 5 by way of submission against 6 defeats. Representing Louisville MMA and fighting out of Louisville, Kentucky, this is John Troyer. For this contest, Dan Christensen.
All right, gentlemen, come on out, come on out. Come on out. All right, you guys had your rules backstage. Either of you have any questions? Questions? You have any questions? Touch them up, gentlemen. Back to your corners.
A Bellator feature fight in the middleweight division. Josh Clark versus John Troyer. Clark in the black and white trunks, Troyer in the blue and white trunks. Dan Christensen is the referee, round number 1.
Starts out with a good overhand left. Both these guys brawling, good left hand again.
Huge shots and Troyer getting the better of that exchange. Both men unloading.
Troyer started out so aggressively against Brett Weidman last time we were here in Louisville. Ended up fading later in the fight, lost by submission. Two guys, 14 wins between them, and absolutely no decisions. All finishes in their victories.
Troyer now living here in Louisville. Grew up in Nebraska, where, no surprise, he was a wrestler in his youth, Jimmy.
And Nebraska, great wrestling state. University of Nebraska, an outstanding wrestling team.
Troyer looking for the takedown, couldn't find it. Posturing for the hip toss, can't find it.
Someone is cut. Looks like it's Troyer, but I can't really tell from here. No, it's over the right eye. The right eye of Josh Clark.
Straight left hand by Clark.
Must have been one of those left hands that opened it up.
Blood really flowing now from that cut in the right brow of Josh Clark.
Oh,
big left hand, Troyer letting go.
That's the money shot of a southpaw, is that left hand right down the pipe. He's landing it very effectively. Not really setting it up with the jab or the lead hook, just going right in with that.
Troyer began his pro MMA career, 8 wins and 8 fights since then. Just 2 wins against 6 losses, and he has lost his last 3, really hungry for a victory.
Well, that's what happens when you step up to that next level of competition. You know, we travel to the Midwest tonight, Sean, and we see a lot of guys who are real successful in the Midwest circuit step up and are not successful.
Clark entering this bout 4-0 as a pro. His amateur MMA record, 11 wins, 1 defeat.
Well, Josh Clark said that his strength is his hands, is his boxing, but right now he's getting outboxed by Troyer.
Clark began boxing. That was his entry into combat sports 5 years ago at the age of 20.
Man, that is a nasty cut.
Just pouring blood.
One thing when you're taking on a striker, they love that target. Whenever they see a cut, that is where every shot is going to go. It's like having a bullseye right on your face.
Good step in knee, another knee, this time with the right by Troyer. Loopy shots by Clark, trying to defend himself.
Good overhand right. But just a little too loopy, needs to tighten up those shots.
Wide punches, but effectively landing from Troyer.
I think Troyer has the range figured out a little bit better than Clark.
Now it's Clark trying to walk down Troyer. Good inside thigh kick by Josh Clark.
That's a good idea. Change things up, mix it up. Hand to foot, foot to hand. Oh, good left hook over the top. Josh Clark finding a punch that's landing successfully. That's that left hook.
Knee by Clark, but now he is taking some punishment from the fist of John Troyer. Then a straight right hand by Clark, a knee by Troyer. Clark back on his bicycle.
Neither guy really willing to take this fight to the ground. We haven't seen any takedown attempts, even though they've both been very aggressive.
Half-hearted body kick there from Clark. Never stepped into it, never turned his foot over.
And both guys look exhausted. Clark now backpedaling. I think he's very tired. Another good left hand.
Windmill punch there from Clark. Another step-in knee by Troyer. They're really flying knees, those are just step-in knees.
Well, I don't see Clark taking a lot more punishment before they're gonna stop this.
Another windmill over the top right hand by Josh Clark.
And he is fighting like he is exhausted.
Left hand from Troyer.
You can only run so much before the referee's gonna come in and save you.
Good uppercut with the right hand by John Troyer.
I think one good flurry and the referee's gonna stop it. 10 seconds left, can Clark hang on? I'm sorry, 30 seconds left. Thought I heard the clapper for 10 seconds, but 20 seconds left now.
Troyer trying to get off punches from the top position. Elbow from the bottom by Clark.
Now 10 seconds left.
Dying seconds of a fast-paced round one. We will go to round number 2.
Let's go, we got one drugs in this round. One drugs. On the inside, you have always clear.
Two cuts sustained in round 1 to Josh Clark. In the forehead and also badly just above the right eyebrow.
Problem is the one on the left side is right over the eye as well. If that one really starts flowing, it's gonna be very hard for him to see. Good right hand by Troyer.
Bellator cut man Rob Monroe working furiously between rounds 1 and 2. Surprisingly, no visit by the ringside physician. Takedown by Clark, no doubt sensing some urgency. Josh Clark is in the black and white trunks, John Troyer in the blue and white trunks. This round number 2 of a Bellator feature fight in the middleweight division.
Question is, how much gas do these guys have? They both look very fatigued at the end of round 1.
Jimmy, how did you score round number 1?
I can't go anywhere but 10-9 for John Troyer. You can even go 10-8, but I thought Josh Clark was answering back enough toward a 10-9 round.
Half guard now held by John Troyer. First time he's been on his back in this fight.
One thing we see in MMA as well as boxing, hard not to score blood. And there's a lot of blood flowing down the face of Josh Clark. That's one thing, when you're on the ground like this, a lot of times the blood from your opponent makes it hard for you to see. It's coming down into the eyes of Troyer as well.
Fighters react differently to their own blood. Some panic, others couldn't be bothered.
Some guys, it gives them some urgency. They turn it on because they know they're hurt.
Clark definitely fighting with some urgency here in round number 2, at least in the opening stages of this second round. All smiles from Clark and Troyer.
Touch of gloves in the middle of the cage. They're having fun. It's bloody, but they love it.
Good inside thigh kick by Clark. Gordon Soley, the greatest pro wrestling commentator, would say Clark's face is a crimson mask.
Going old school with it, but John Troyer looking hard for the finish.
Troyer letting go with the ground and pound. Right hand, then the left by Troyer.
It's got to be very hard for Clark to see from this position, and Troyer lets him back up. That's a little surprising.
Clark literally leaking blood, and again, it's 2 cuts in the forehead and just above the right brow. The one above the right brow is the serious cut. Hands on the hips now, Josh Clark, missing badly with that kick and giving his back.
Clark is exhausted. Troyer doesn't look a whole lot better.
If we make it out of round 2, and that's an if, I will be absolutely shocked if the ringside physician does not pay a visit to the corner of Josh Clark.
And Josh Clark just diving in for a pseudo takedown. Now he's in big trouble. Both arms trapped.
Crucifix position held by John Troyer, looking to finish. Raining down shots with the right hand, straight into the face.
The ref isn't going to let this go much longer.
Clark trying to posture onto his hip, holding half guard. Troyer had the crucifix and lost it.
Now in the full mount, very dangerous, and Troyer posturing up. Look for him to break that grip, sit up, and rain down punches.
Body lock held defensively so by Josh Clark.
Remember, elbows are legal in this fight.
On cue, an elbow there from John Troyer, then the punches, then the elbow.
Now Troyer's got to be thinking at this point, what is it going to take to finish this guy?
This is tremendous blood loss from Josh Clark. Full mount.
Troyer just doesn't look like he has the energy to throw a lot of punches from this position.
10th minute of this fight, the final minute of round number 2. Reverse punches there by Troyer with the left hand.
Not quite all the way on the back of Clark. Now in good position to get the choke and finish this fight. Clark sliding his way out of it. That's where the blood helps you.
Clark is leaking more blood than Olenek and Grove combined in their heavyweight tournament quarterfinal.
I agree.
Troyer is not going to be able to finish Clark in the closing stages of round number 2. And we will go to a 3rd and final round, Jimmy.
Wow. I find it hard to believe, like you said, that the ringside doctor will allow this fight to continue. I don't do pro wrestling. I would call his face a crimson mask.
No visit from the ringside physician between rounds 1 and 2. And thus far, no visit from the ringside physician here between rounds 2 and 3.
Now, you may not know this, the cut man is not the same as a physician. He doesn't stop a fight because of cuts. It's his job to fix the cuts. A ringside physician has to make that call, and right now, there's not one in the cage.
Here comes the ringside physician. Rob Monroe is the cut man in Clark's corner. Dean Lassiter is the cut man. Not having the 10 to the face of John Troyer. They are Bellator employees, and they have no power to stop a fight.
And the ringside physician is letting it continue. Bleeding a lot, but apparently not serious enough to warrant a stoppage.
We will go to a 3rd and final round.
You ready? You ready? Come on, gentlemen, let's go. 3rd round.
Josh Clark in the black and white trunks, John Troyer in the blue and white trunks. Jimmy, how do you have this scored?
2 rounds to none for John Troyer, 20-18. Don't think he's warranted exactly a 10-8 round yet, but you never know. Last time we were here, Pitbull Freire had his way with Joe Warren in the first round and was not given a 10-8. I find it hard to believe the judges would give one for this one. And that was a wipeout of a round.
Clark trying to let go with the hands. A lot of blood loss from Josh Clark. Big right hand from Clark.
You kind of see that look on Troyer's face like, what else do I have to do? Oh, nice knee by Clark.
Uppercut, a big knee from Clark.
Does Clark have the energy to follow up?
Missing with that right.
Oh, another good right hand. But what he's not doing is, oh, another good right, but these shots are one at a time. He's not following up with 2 and 3 follow-up punches.
Clark throwing the windmill over the top right hand. Big knee then from Troyer on the answer.
And Clark kind of going for the takedown, but really just flopping to the mat.
Side control held by John Troyer. 100% of the blood on Troyer is from Josh Clark. Again, cut in 2 different places in round number 1. On his forehead and horrifically over the right eyebrow, and that's the serious cut.
Troyer now, identify him by the blue and pink trunks he is wearing. On top of Clark. Man, both these guys just totally physically exhausted. With 3 minutes left in this fight.
Clark has flames on his trunks. I'm not sure where the flames start and the blood starts.
No, you're not sure. Man, I called Olenek Hayes a bloodbath. This is considerably worse.
We've done some bloody fights in Russia. I'm going to say that this is the bloodiest fight you and I have ever called in the U.S.
Could be. Certainly could be. Yeah, I think we might have seen bloodier ones in Russia. I saw a Dr. Coutinho fight in Russia. The guy was dead. The guy was actually dead. And the doctor kept letting it go. Well, the guy was Russian. Doctor's Russian. They're going to let it keep going. You remember that one, Sean?
We've seen some interesting fights, Jimmy, in Russia.
We certainly have.
Big left hands on the top from Troyer.
We've also seen some interesting decisions in Russia. Seen interesting everything in Russia.
And I absolutely adore Russia. Absolutely adore it.
Fun place to call a fight, but here in America, this is a phenomenally bloody fight.
Elbow from the bottom by Josh Clark. Open guard held by Clark. We're just unable to get off any sort of shots with power from this position. Dropping down a very slow hammer fist.
And one thing you cannot question here is the heart of either guy. They're exhausted and still throwing.
Clark actually looking for an armbar. Troyer backs away, invites his opponent to stand.
This is one of those fights Clark is going to watch afterward and go, I can't believe I did that. He's coming on strong, though. Trying hard to finish this fight. A kick, then a punch. Good uppercut.
Big uppercut with the right hand by Josh Clark as we are into the 15th and final minute of this fight.
And Clark throwing right hand and just falling to the ground.
Just clubbing hammer fist by Troyer.
Troyer in the mount. Will he go for the finish with 30 seconds left?
Full mount by John Troyer. Short elbow by Troyer. 20 seconds now remaining in this fight. Did they give an MMA award for most blood loss?
I don't think they do. They may need to start. These guys would be, Josh Clark would be the first winner.
The bell, the end of the fight, and a huge ovation, the biggest of the night, in fact, from the crowd here at 4th Street Live in Louisville, Kentucky.
These guys, you know, John Troyer had a great performance, was brought out by the heart and tenacity of Josh Clark. Not a technical performance, but a great show of heart by both fighters.
Two really likable people, Josh Clark and John Troyer. As long as you're not squeamish by the sight of blood, that was a really fun fight.
Very entertaining fight. These are two guys that their technique catches up to their desire and their heart. They're going to be world champions.
Jimmy, how do you have this scored?
3 rounds to none, 30-27 for John Troyer. Wouldn't surprise me if there were 10-8 somewhere in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance inside the Bellator cage, we'll go to the judges' scorecards. All 3 judges, Amy Evans, Chris Kidman, and Les Stapleton, all scored about exactly the same at 30-27 for the winner by unanimous decision, John Troyer.
John Troyer ends his 3-fight losing streak, and Josh Clark suffers the first defeat of his pro MMA career. By unanimous decision, John Troyer defeats Josh Clark.
And while the 2 fighters are still inside the Bellator cage, would you please give it up for Josh Clark?